Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, March the 29th. We got a big Monday slate. We got 11 games tonight, so as usual on these big slates, I'm going to try and go as quick as I can. If there's games I don't have much interest in, I'll just be sure to say that. There's going to be some games we don't really spend too much time on. There's going to be games we spend more time on. But I'm going to try and go through these 11 games, talk through the slate team by team with you guys, as quickly as possible. So before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button as well if you are new here. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. Haven't been able to live stream these last few days, but I will definitely be live this afternoon, probably around 4 Eastern time, around usual time. So if you're free Monday afternoon, if you want to tune into the live stream, we'll be live breaking down this slate, answering all you guys' questions. So be sure to tune into the stream then. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at Monday's slate. So we will start off with the Wizards and Pacers game. On the Pacers side, I have some interest in some of these guys because it is such an appealing matchup against Washington. It's going to be tough to predict on a nightly basis when, Sabonis, Brogdon, LeVert, which one of these guys is going to go off. Obviously, now that LeVert is in the mix and getting, big minutes, he's obviously taking usage away from guys like Brogdon and Sabonis. But Sabonis, we know, a guy that's going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet. I would say that his floor is a little bit lower now, and we've kind of seen that. He's had some disappointing games at times. His ceiling's a little bit capped as well, but still, in such a good matchup like this, I do have some interest in Domantas Sabonis. I don't know if he's like a top stud option for me, but someone I would be interested in tournaments. Same with Malcolm Brogdon at 7K. I think when you factor in price, like Brogdon probably looks the most appealing. This does feel a little bit too cheap of a price point for Brogdon, given how good of a matchup this is, given the pace-up spot. So I definitely like Brogdon a good amount. Karis LeVert as well at 7K I think is also viable. Now I'd probably rather play Brogdon over LeVert. I just think Brogdon's the slightly more productive player. I think over time, Brogdon's going to be, in terms of fantasy points per minute, Brogdon's a little bit better than LeVert. So I think I would rather have Brogdon over LeVert. LeVert is still viable though, but I would say my favorite play from the Indiana is probably Brogdon. Sabonis and LeVert I think are, tournament options. They're going to be low-owned guys you could consider, but I'm really not looking to anyone else on the Pacers outside of, those three guys. So moving on to the Wizards side, this is pretty easy to break down for me. I think if Bradley Beal plays today, he is currently questionable. If he plays, I don't really have a ton of interest in this Washington team. I think Westbrook, at 11K you could go to, but there are other studs I prefer. We have 11 games. There's a ton of options. I don't know if Westbrook's going to be someone I'm trying to jam in. Kind of the same with Bradley Beal. I will say that Beal, at 9,100, that does feel a little bit too cheap for him, but the matchup's not great. There's better spots to target. But if we do get word that Bradley Beal is out, now he was questionable last slate and he wound up playing, so I'm going to assume he plays today. But if we do get word that Bradley Beal is out, then yeah, Russell Westbrook becomes a top option. He'll definitely be a stud that I will for sure be trying to jam in today. But that's just kind of a wait and see for now. I really am not looking to target anyone else on the Wizards outside of, Westbrook if Beal sits. And then I guess if Beal sits, you can maybe go to a guy like Raul Neto for value. If he were to start for Bradley Beal, he could be a decent play at 3,600. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Pelicans and the Celtics. So on the Pelicans today, Zion at 8,800, I do have some interest in just because, Zion is, at this point, he's just so good. The guy's going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet every night. He's going to play big minutes. The matchup against the Celtics is not the best, I would say, but 8,800 is still, I would say, a little bit too cheap for Zion for the upside that he does have. He's shown a lot more upside this year. Last year he was a guy that he'd have a lot of, 40, 45-point games, but you rarely got, 55, 60-point games from Zion. Well, this year, we've seen Zion 65, 51 in his last game. He has that 50-plus point ceiling, can definitely give you, 6X, 7X on this $8,800 salary. So Zion's probably my top target from the Pelicans. We do need to watch the status of Lonzo Ball. He is currently questionable. Even if he is out, I don't know if there's too much that I really want to target because Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the guy that has been benefiting with Lonzo out, he's been priced up to 5,800. I still have some interest in him, but on an 11-game slate, I feel like they're going to be better plays than NAW. I think if NAW was 5K today, he'd be a lot more appealing. But now that he's closer to 6K, I don't know if he's going to really be a top option for me, even if Lonzo does remain out. So it's really just Zion and probably nothing else from the Pelicans. This is not a team I'm going to have that much exposure to. Now on the Celtics side, the matchup is obviously ideal here against the Pelicans. The Pelicans, they haven't been good defensively. They do play fast. So guys like Tatum, Brown, Kemba Walker should benefit given the good matchup, but it's so hard to predict which one of these three guys is going to put up the big game on a nightly basis. When they're all healthy, normally these are not guys I really go out of my way to play. I feel like that's going to be the case today. If I'm only playing one lineup today, which is what I've been doing for the last month or two, in my one lineup, I don't think I'm really going to get to any of these big three Celtics guys, Tatum, Brown, or Walker. Evan Fournier is questionable. If he were to play, that would just, make me less interested in these guys. So I really don't like any of them at their price points. I think there's just other players I prefer priced around them. I'd rather have Zion over Tatum, I think. Same with, Jaylen Brown. I'd rather have Zion over Jaylen Brown. The one guy, though, that I'm going to continue to roster from Boston is Robert Williams. 6,700 on DK. You could argue is still too cheap. The last two games that he has started in place of Tristan Thompson, with Daniel Tice off the team, we've gotten 27 and 26 minutes from Robert Williams, and he's been productive. 41, 37 DraftKings points. This is a great point per minute player, a guy that's going to average, 1.2 to 1.3 fantasy points per minute when he's on the floor. The matchup's great. He went off earlier this year against the Pelicans for what it's worth. He only played 21 minutes, but he had 36 DraftKings points in only 21 minutes against New Orleans. Not saying that really matters today, but we know Robert Williams has a ton of upside, and now that he is their starting center, now that he's playing close to 30 minutes a night, this is someone we're going to see continue to just, his price is just going to continue to go up. He's going to be priced around the 8K range pretty soon, if I had to guess. I'm still very high on Robert Williams. In this matchup, I like him a lot. He's definitely someone I'm going to be looking to on the slate. I like him on Yahoo as well. The price tag is rising, but still $28. Robert Williams, someone I have a lot of interest in on both sides. Definitely going to be going back to him for sure. But that's probably it for Boston. We can go ahead and move on to the next game. Minnesota and Brooklyn. This, in my opinion, is probably one of the more appealing games just when you look at, pace, implied points. This should be probably one of the highest scoring games on the slate. So starting off on the Minnesota side, I love Karl-Anthony Towns today. 9,900 on DK. Feels a little bit too cheap for this matchup against the Nets, and I love him on Yahoo as well. He's definitely a top center option for me. This does feel like a two-center type of slate. There's a lot of good center plays. I was just kind of skimming through the slate before I started recording. There's a lot of guys that stand out at center today. Robert Williams, obviously one of them. Cat as well. Love here in this matchup against Brooklyn. We've seen Brooklyn just continue to get killed by bigs. They're not a team that really is elite defensively down low. This is a team you can definitely pick on with opposing centers. Just on the top of my head, I know I can't remember who went off against Brooklyn recently, but it was, I think it was Rudy Gobert had a huge game against Brooklyn, or maybe it was somebody else. But Brooklyn's always been a team, that you can attack down low. They haven't been playing as fast as of late, but I think getting Kyrie Irving back for today is probably going to push up the pace a little bit. They really haven't been that good defensively. If this game can stay close, or I would say if it does stay close, it's probably going to be because of Karl-Anthony Towns, because he's putting up a huge game. And we know he's playing big minutes as long as it's a close game. He's going to get 35, 36 minutes. So love Towns today. Definitely one of my favorite spin-up options for sure. I don't know if I'm really going to be looking to anyone else on Minnesota, though. Now that Malik Beasley is back, I don't really want to pay $7,300 for Anthony Edwards. He still has some upside, but I would say that his ceiling is a little bit capped with Beasley back. Beasley himself, at 6,700, probably not going to go there either. He played 30 minutes in his first game back from suspension. Probably gets a few more minutes today. At 6,700, I guess he's viable. But I don't really like too much on Minnesota outside of Karl-Anthony Towns. Same with Ricky Rubio. I really don't have that much interest in Rubio today. He's got upside, but on an 11-game slate, I don't really want to be playing Ricky Rubio even in a good matchup. So yeah, I think it's Towns for me, and kind of that's probably it. I don't see too much else I like on Minnesota. Now on the Brooklyn side, Kyrie Irving is back for today. So, you got Kyrie at 9,800. You got James Harden at 10,900. I think in a really good matchup like this against Minnesota in what should be a fast-paced game, Harden and Irving both look appealing. If I had to choose one, I would definitely prefer Harden just because he's the better, point-per-minute player. He's obviously going to play a few more minutes as well. Harden, I'm pretty sure, does lead the league in minutes per game this year. He's going to play close to 40 minutes if it's a close game. We know he gives you that triple-double upside on a nightly basis. I don't think he's going to be producing at as high of a level as he has these last few games with Kyrie out, but still, even playing alongside Kyrie, Harden has really, really good numbers. Going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet. So I do have some interest in James Harden for sure. I think for $1,000 less, I'd probably rather have Cat, but Harden does look like one of the top pay-up options as well. Kyrie, he's a fine play, but I think I'd rather get to Harden. I don't know if Kyrie's going to be someone I really build around. But yeah, outside of those two, I'm not really looking to anyone else on Brooklyn. I will mention Blake Griffin just because he's been, pretty decent with Brooklyn so far. He hasn't really been getting a ton of minutes, but did have 26 DraftKings points in 20 minutes last game. he's tough to roster until we really see the minutes go up, but it's at least good to see that Griffin's, producing at a pretty solid level. I think he's going to be better with Brooklyn than he was when he was with Detroit. I just think he's more motivated with this team. They obviously have a championship kind of mindset. This is a team that will most likely be competing in the playoffs when they get here. So yeah, Blake Griffin. Once we see the minutes go up, I think this is going to be someone we might actually be rostering. But until that happens, I don't know if we can really go there today. So yeah, for me, it's Harden, it's Irving, mainly just Harden, the guy I'm looking to on Brooklyn. Now now looking at the next game, Miami and New York. So on the Miami side, we do have some, kind of impactful injuries to talk about here. So Victor Oladipo, he was obviously traded to Miami. He's still not ready to play yet. He is still injured, I believe, due to right here it says due to a head cold, but I thought there was something else. I think it's an illness maybe, but yeah. Oladipo is going to be out today for an illness. He's with the team. He should be, whenever he gets through or gets over this illness, he should be ready to play for Miami. But for today, he's going to be out. And we also know that Kendrick Nunn also going to be out. He was out their last game. Or he got injured in their last game after the first half or something. So that basically leaves Tyler Hero and Goran Dragic as the two guards that we should expect to get big minutes. Hero 5,800, Dragic 5,400. Dragic, he's been out these last few games, but he is listed as probable. He is expected back for today. And I actually have a good amount of interest in Goran Dragic. I think with Oladipo still not ready to play yet, with Kendrick Nunn out, there's definitely more minutes available for Dragic. We got to keep an eye on the minutes because he hasn't played in about 9 days. He could be on a minutes limit, but assuming he's full go, I think we do get, probably mid to high 20s minutes from Dragic, maybe close to 30. I'm not sure yet who they're going to start in place of Kendrick Nunn. It could be Dragic, and if Dragic does start, I feel a lot better about him, but we've seen, they'll put Jimmy Butler at point guard and then just, throw they could throw Iguodala into the starting lineup and then put Butler at point guard. Or maybe Goran Dragic starts, and if he starts, I really like him at 5,400. I think even if he comes off the bench, he's still someone I'm going to be looking to. I expect there to be more minutes available for Dragic with Kendrick Nunn out today. So I do like him a good amount on both sides. He's also pretty affordable on Yahoo, coming in at $16 over there. He's probable, so we'll have to keep an eye on this, but I am assuming Dragic plays, and assuming there's no minutes limit, I think he's a very solid option today. Tyler Hero as well, I expect to get a few more minutes. I think I'd rather play Dragic just because Dragic is a better point per minute player. But Hero you could go to as well. I don't expect him to be as productive as he was in that Portland game because obviously Jimmy was out then. With Jimmy back, I don't expect Hero or Dragic to be elite fantasy point per minute players, but Dragic himself does average close to a fantasy point per minute. Hero is a little bit behind him, so that's why I would prefer Dragic over Hero. But Butler and Bam, I don't have too much interest in. The matchup's not great against New York. It's, not the best paced game. I don't know if Butler or Bam are going to be guys I really go out of my way to spend up for today. So honestly, it's probably just Goran Dragic for me, maybe Hero, and not too much else on Miami. Trevor Ariza I will mention just because he has been starting for Miami, and he's played at least 30 minutes in 2 straight games, 33 minutes against Portland, 31 against Charlotte. He did have a huge game against Charlotte. I don't know if that's something we really want to look too much into because normally Trevor Ariza is just not a productive point per minute player. He's not a guy that's really, he's not someone you're going to get excited to roster, and especially now that his price is up to $4,500. I'm probably not going to go there. I did want to mention him just because he is coming off a good game and he's seen 30-plus minutes in 2 straight games, but I feel like we're going to have better value on a big slate like this. So, yeah, I think that does it for Miami. Moving on to the Knicks side, there isn't too much I really like here. We'll mention Julius Randle just because he is listed as questionable right now. This is obviously a pretty impactful injury. I would say that if Julius Randle sits again, the biggest beneficiaries are probably Alec Burks, RJ Barrett. Those guys should just get increased usage. Barrett didn't have the greatest game, or he was okay, 41 DK points for 7,200. He had about 6x value, but he shot pretty bad from the field, only 36% from the field, but he did take 22 shots. He played a ton of minutes. I think Barrett would benefit if Randle were to sit again. So if Randle is out again, I do actually like RJ Barrett a good amount. I like Alec Burks as well. He had a really good game, 49 Draftkings points in 41 minutes. We're getting big minutes right now from both Burks and Barrett. So those guys, even though their price tags are coming up, I think they do look very appealing today if Randle sits. Mitchell Robinson's injured again, which really sucks, but I don't know if this impacts too much because Nerlens Noel, he's kind of been priced appropriately. I would say that if Randle sits, though, that does lead the path to more minutes is available for Nerlens Noel if Randle's out. He did play 31 minutes last game. He should be more productive with Randle off the floor. So I do actually have some interest in Noel, especially if Randle sits. With no Randle, no Robinson, they're pretty thin in the front court, and we should expect, pretty big minutes from Noel. Taj Gibson would get a good amount of run as well, and Taj Gibson did start last game in place of Randall, played 34 minutes, had 29 DraftKings points. He's still pretty cheap today at 4,200. So to quickly summarize it, I would say that if Julius Randle plays, I really don't like too much on the Knicks. I think everyone's just priced appropriately. But if Julius Randle is out, then there's a lot I'm interested in. RJ Barrett, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, I think would all be viable if Randle is out. So got to keep an eye on the Randle status. That's obviously huge news that we'll have to monitor for today. But moving on to the next game, Toronto and Detroit. So on the Raptors today, we got to watch the status of Kyle Lowry. The Raptors did play on Sunday. Lowry was ruled out, I believe, like an hour before the game started. We don't yet know his status for today's game. I'm pretty sure he's going to be with the team, so we'll just have to keep an eye on this. I would say that if Lowry plays, I really don't like anything on Toronto. Just on a big slate like this, I don't think I'm really going to be going to any of these Toronto guys if Lowry is in. But if Lowry is out again, really like Fred VanVleet, really like Pascal Siakam. I think OG would be viable as well. Gary Trent actually played on Sunday's slate when Lowry got ruled out, but today we just have so many other options. I'm not going to go to Gary Trent, not going to go to anyone else. So yeah, if Lowry plays, not really much interest in Toronto. If Lowry's out, I do really like VanVleet. I do really like Siakam and OG. You could also go to Chris Boucher. Did get more minutes last game or Sunday with Lowry out. He could be someone you consider in tournaments. There's a lot of good center plays today. I think Boucher would come in a lot lower owned than he probably should be in a good matchup like this against Detroit. So maybe you could go there in tournaments if Lowry sits. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the Detroit side. So with the Pistons today, there actually is some interest for me on this team. Not too much, but at the top you got Jeremy Grant, 7,500. Probably not going to be going there. Just not the best matchup against Toronto. There's just other appealing spots today. It's an 11-game slate. I don't want to be rostering too much from the Pistons, but the guy that I do have some interest in is Saben Lee because he is super cheap. He's 3,800. And with Dennis Smith Jr. already ruled out, we actually did see Saben Lee draw the start on Saturday against Washington. Now, he only played 24 minutes, which I guess was a little bit disappointing, but he was productive in that time. He did have 25 DraftKings points in those 24 minutes. I think the minutes are going to fluctuate from game to game. But as long as Saben Lee is announced as starting again at 3,800, we don't have a ton of standout value right now. So I do like Saben Lee as kind of an early value at 3,800. Obviously, it depends on if he starts or not. If he doesn't start, then I'm not going to play him. But now that DeLon Wright's no longer on the team, now that Dennis Smith Jr. is out with an injury, I think Saben Lee has a path to 25 to 30 minutes. And if they start him again, I think there's potential for him to play that. So I actually do have some interest in him at 3,800. He's really the one guy I'm looking to on Detroit. I'm probably not playing any other Pistons today, though. Outside of Lee, there really isn't much I like here. So we can go ahead and talk about the next game, Memphis and Houston. So on Memphis today, really the only guys I'm interested in, and I would say they're just lower-owned tournament options. J-Val, John Morant, I think you could go to in tournaments. I don't know if either of them are top plays for me. Like at center, I like Robert Williams for $1,000 less than J-Val. We're going to talk about Moses Brown. I'm looking to go back to him. Obviously, I like Towns the pay-up option. I think J-Val is going to be super low-owned. The matchup is pretty good against Christian Wood, who's really not that good of a defender, assuming that Wood does play. But there's just other centers I prefer over J-Val today. John Morant, this is someone that he has such, the floor on John Morant's been really bad this year. We've seen Morant just go out there and put up, 25, 30 DK points. You never know what you're getting from John Morant, but he still does have that 50-plus point ceiling. We saw him have a really good game against Utah on the 26th, 55 DK points, had 48 DK points against Boston. He can still go out there and put up 50 DK points any night. If you want to go to him, I don't mind him, but I really don't see any top plays from Memphis. This isn't a team I really want to have much exposure to today. On the Houston side, I would say it's a little bit more appealing here. Christian Wood is currently questionable, so this is actually really, really big news that we'll have to keep an eye on. Last game, Christian Wood was late scratch. He got ruled out 10 or 15 minutes before the game started, and they actually started Kelly Olynyk at center. Kelly Olynyk was very productive, had 25 DK points had 34 DK points in 25 minutes. That was in his debut with the Rockets, and Kelly Olynyk, he's always been a productive player when he starts at center, when he gets center minutes. I expect him to be productive with this Houston team. If Christian Wood is out again and Kelly Olynyk starts, 4,400, Kelly Olynyk is going to look like one of the best value plays of the day. He's power forward eligible on DraftKings, which makes him super appealing. You don't have to use your center spot on him. So if Wood sits, I love Kelly Olynyk. I'm going to be going right back to him for sure. John Wall, I think, is interesting as well at 8,300. Just without Oladipo, with him no longer on the team, John Wall should be really productive rest of season with this Rockets team. basically until they, eventually shut him down. I'm sure they're going to shut him down at some point. But while he's playing, I expect Wall to be productive when he's out there. We've seen him be productive these last few games. 46 DK points in 37 minutes against Minnesota. And then they played again. It was a huge blowout, but Wall still had 40 DK points in only 26 minutes. He's been playing big minutes, though, in close games. This is a game we expect to stay close. Right now, the spread is at, let's see. The spread in this game is only 5 points, so this is one we should expect to stay close. If we get 36, 38 minutes from John Wall, I mean, he can easily score, 50-plus DK points. He should be really productive when he's out there. His assist numbers are going to skyrocket, with Oladipo off the floor, with him being the primary ball handler. So really do like John Wall as a mid-range point guard option. Really like Kelly Olynyk if Christian Wood's out, but that probably does it for Houston. I don't see too much else I like on this team outside of that, those two guys. So, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the next game, looking at Dallas and OKC. So on Dallas today, Luka and Porzingis, they were both out last game, but they are off the injury report for today. So both Luka and Porzingis are expected back. I really don't like too much on Dallas here. Luka, you can always play Luka. He's always someone worth targeting, just because he's so good. But I think I'd rather play Harden. I'd rather play Cat for cheaper. I think I'd rather play Giannis as well. So really don't like Luka that much on the slate and really don't have that much interest in anyone on Dallas. Dallas definitely a team I'm just not that interested in. I really don't. Outside of Luka and Porzingis, I really don't roster anyone else on Dallas when those two guys are healthy, and that's definitely the case today. So, yeah, I think Luka's a good tournament option, as he always is, but I don't see any core plays coming from Dallas now. On the OKC side, I actually do have some interest in some OKC guys. We know that SGA is going to remain out for, I believe, I don't know if they set a specific number, but it says right here that he's going to miss a significant amount of time. They're obviously in no hurry to rush SGA back because this Thunder team, they have nothing to play for. And we've already seen them shut down Al Horford. Al Horford's going to be, he's not going to play the rest of the season. I guess he's going to stay with the Thunder. I don't know if they're trading him or something. I don't think they can because the trade deadline's, already passed. But, yeah, Horford's going to be out and SGA is going to remain out. So, Moses Brown, 6,800. This is an expensive price point. Or at least it seems like an expensive price point. With no Al Horford, though, I expect 30-plus minutes a night from Moses Brown moving forward. And this is someone that has just been incredibly productive. He's been insane on the boards. I mean, double-digit rebounds in, 5 of his last 6 games. He has at least double-digit rebounds. He had 23 rebounds last game against Boston. I mean, this is someone that has 20-20 upside. He doesn't really do much else outside of score and rebound. I mean, he can block some shots, but he's really not going to get assists, which I would say caps his upside a little bit. But still, even at 6,800, if we're getting 30-plus minutes from Moses Brown, who has been an excellent point-per-minute player this year with OKC, I still have interest in him. I think I'd rather have Robert Williams over Moses Brown, but yeah, Moses Brown, I mean, even at 6,800, I think is a really good option and definitely my favorite play from OKC. Theo Maledon, I expect to be really productive. He's going to get big minutes with no SGA. He was really productive last game, 43 DK points in 37 minutes. I don't know if we can expect that kind of production today, but definitely someone I'm looking to, and especially on Yahoo. If you look at the Yahoo pricing, Theo Maledon is super cheap on Yahoo, only $13. I like him a lot over there. I don't have as much interest in him on DK, where he's close to 6K, but on Yahoo at $13, I think Theo Maledon's a great play at that price point. Definitely someone I'm going to be looking to on Yahoo. Don't mind him on DK, but obviously not as much of a priority. But Lou Dort, we got to watch his status. He is currently in the concussion protocol. Seems likely that he's not going to play today, which I would say, gives the path to Poku to play more minutes. Poku did get hurt last game, but he returned, played 31 minutes. He could maybe be viable today. I think Darius Bazley is going to remain out. Right here it says that he's considered week to week, and that was reported on March the 18th that he was considered week to week. So I assume Bazley is going to remain out, but we'll need to keep an eye on that. Isaiah Roby, though, he should be more productive with Horford out. He should have the path to 30-plus minutes with Horford off the floor. Don't mind Roby either, but that probably does it from OKC. I don't think I'm really going to be going to Ty Jerome or Kendrick Williams today. I think they're just a little bit too expensive. Top plays for me from OKC, definitely Moses Brown, I like the most, and then Theo Maledon on Yahoo, where he's super cheap, I like over there. But yeah, that does it for OKC. Moving on to the next game, the Kings and the Spurs. So on the Kings today, I really don't like too much on this team. I think De'Aaron Fox, he's a good tournament play. Fox is someone you can always play in GPPs. He's shown massive upside lately. He's been priced up, though, to 9,500. I would say that he's not a top option for me. I'd rather play Karl-Anthony Towns over Fox. Holmes, Barnes, Hield, Halliburton, they all just feel priced appropriately today. I don't think there's really any core plays or top options coming from Sacramento. And I think the same could be said from San Antonio. Even though it's a really good matchup for the Spurs, I don't see too much I'm really interested in here. Deontay Murray would probably be my favorite play at 7,100, just because we know Deontay Murray has 40 plus point upside, can put up 40 DK points any night. The matchup is really good. I do like his upside in this matchup against Sacramento. A team that does play fast, a team that's been really bad defensively this year. Like Derek White, Jakob Poeltl, I don't have that much interest in. Poeltl's minutes have just been all over the place. He's played 31 in 2 straight games, but like 21 the game before that, 26 the game before that. My best guess is we get like 25, 30 minutes from Jakob Poeltl. You can maybe go there at 5,700, but I think there's just better center plays. Like I'd rather play Moses Brown. I'd rather play Robert Williams over Jakob Poeltl. So yeah, I don't see much I really like in this game. I mean, this game overall, one I'm not that interested in. So look at the next one, Cleveland and Utah. Now this game, I don't think there's too much I really like here either, outside of one guy that we'll talk about on Cleveland, just due to injury. So we do know that Jared Allen, he's going to remain out with a concussion. He was out last game. He's going to be out again. Kevin Love is also going to remain out. So with Jared Allen and Kevin Love both out, I think that the biggest beneficiary there is definitely Larry Nance. We saw Larry Nance start at center last game with Jared Allen out, and I'm assuming they start Larry Nance at center again. He played 34 minutes. He was really productive, had 39 DraftKings points. Look, when Nance plays center, he's just a more productive player. His rebounds go up when he's getting center minutes. He's a guy that can be productive. He can do a little bit of everything. He can score. He can get rebounds. He can get assists. He can get those defensive stats. Like Nance is actually someone that can kind of stuff the stat sheet. I wouldn't say that he's got like triple-double upside or anything, but he can get you 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple steals, and finish with 40-plus DK points, especially when he's playing center. So I actually like Larry Nance a good amount. Even at 7K, I think he's someone I'm definitely going to be looking to today. He's got small forward and power forward eligibility on DK, which makes him super appealing. On Yahoo, he's power forward, but he's super affordable there. His price tag, in my opinion, is just not where it should be. He should definitely be more than $25. So even in a less than ideal matchup against Utah, I really like Larry Nance here, just with Jared Allen and Kevin Love both out. Nance should be really productive when he's out there, and he should play big minutes as long as this game stays close. Now, that's obviously a big worry. Cleveland could get absolutely blown out here, but if it can stay close and we get 36 minutes from Larry Nance, I mean, he can easily go for 40-plus DraftKings points. So I do like Larry Nance. He's my top play from Cleveland for sure. I don't think I'm really going to be going to Sexton or Garland or anyone else on Cleveland. Isaiah Hartenstein, they did acquire in a trade with the Nuggets. Maybe he gets some minutes as the backup center. I'd assume that Nance is going to continue to start at center, but I guess they could start Isaiah Hartenstein at center. I don't think they're going to do that, but keep an eye on it. If Hartenstein is able to play and he winds up starting in place of Jared Allen, 3,200, he's going to be a really, really good value play, but I'd be surprised if he starts at center. I assume that he's just going to be the backup to Larry Nance, and Larry Nance will still get big minutes. So, yeah, that does it for Cleveland. Now, on the Utah side, I don't see too much I really like here. Mike Conley rested last game, but he should be back for today, for today's game. So, with Conley expected back, I don't think there's really much I like on Utah at all. Outside of Larry Nance, this isn't a game I really want to have that much exposure to. So, looking at the next one, the Bulls and the Warriors. On the Bulls today, Nikola Vucevic, we have at 9,300. Vuce, when he made his debut with the Bulls, was not someone I really had much interest in, and he didn't have that good of a game. Only 37 DK points in 32 minutes. The matchup's good against the Warriors. This should be a pretty fast-paced game. These are two pretty fast-paced teams. You could go to Vuce, but I think I definitely would rather play like Towns over Vuce today. I don't think Vuce is someone I'm really going to be paying up for that much at all. Now, Zach LaVine, he's currently probable. I thought he was questionable, but he's probable, so he's expected to play. Markkanen, he is currently probable as well. Daniel Tice could maybe make his debut with the Bulls. Like, I just don't really like much on this Bulls team. This isn't a team I really want to have much exposure to at all today. Satoransky, he's going to continue to start and play probably around 30 minutes, but he only got 17 minutes last game, which is a little bit of a concern. Yeah, I don't really like much on the Bulls. I don't think the Bulls are really going to be a team I look to target much today at all. So on the Warriors side, we do need to watch the status of Steph Curry. Curry could maybe be back for this game. He's been out with the tailbone injury for like a week or two. He went through a full practice on Sunday, though. Right now he's questionable. I'd assume since he went through a full practice that Curry will be back for this game. So with Curry most likely back, that's just assumption. But with him most likely back, I don't really want to play any Warriors today outside of Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green's the one guy that I do have interest in. I think Curry coming back doesn't really have that much of an impact on Draymond. If anything, it's probably good for Draymond. To get a good shooter out there, get a good shooter like Curry out there, for Draymond. So even at 6,900, I think Draymond is still a solid option if Curry plays today. I don't mind him. James Wiseman, he's going to continue to start, play around 30 minutes a night. in a good matchup against the Bulls, like, could you go to James Wiseman? You absolutely could, but I think, there's just other centers I prefer. Robert Williams, Moses Brown. I'd rather have these guys over over Wiseman, excuse me. I do want to mention Wiseman, though, on Yahoo just because he's minimum salary. Like, if you need a cheap center, I mean, Wiseman's minimum salary, so getting James Wiseman starting, playing close to 30 minutes against the Bulls for minimum salary, I mean, that's a good value in my opinion. But, yeah, I don't see too much I like on this Warriors team either, outside of maybe Draymond and maybe Curry if he plays, but there's other studs I think I'd rather get to over Curry. So we can go ahead and talk about the last game of the night real quick, the Bucks and the Clippers. This should be a really fun game to watch. I don't know if there's going to be too much interest of mine here for like DFS purposes. Giannis, though, I do have some interest in. Obviously, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew, DiVincenzo, like basically the entire team for Milwaukee was out last game, but all these guys, except Portis and Tucker, all these guys are going to be back. So with, everyone back, Giannis is really the only guy I'm interested in from the Bucks. I think I would rather go to Harden in a better matchup over Giannis, but I think Giannis is up there with Harden and Towns in terms of like favorite stud options for me. Even in a less than ideal matchup against the Clippers, facing a good Clippers defense, I still have interest in Giannis just because of how productive of a player he is. Really we just want this to be a competitive game. Like as long as the game stays close, we know that Giannis is going to play big minutes and we know that he's going to be productive when he's out there. So I definitely like Giannis on this slate. He is someone I'm interested in for sure. He's really the only guy I like from Milwaukee. On the Clippers side, though, I really don't like much here. Kawhi and PG both feel like priced appropriately. I don't think on an 11-game slate that either one of these guys are really going to be guys I go out of my way to play. If I had to pick one, though, I think it would be Kawhi just because Kawhi's been the better player he's been the more productive player on a point-per-minute basis this year over PG. But I don't see either one of those guys being top options for me. Zubac with Ibaka still out should get close to 30 minutes, but we saw him only get 21 minutes last game. He was in some foul trouble, but 5,900, Zubac does feel priced appropriately now. I don't know if he's someone I'm really going to be going to. So really in this game, I think it's Giannis for me, and not much interest in anyone else outside of Giannis. So that does it for all 11 games today, guys. I think we broke everything down, talked through everything. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also get notified every time I do go live. I will be live streaming this afternoon for tonight's slate, so if you are free Monday afternoon, tune into my YouTube channel around 4 Eastern. I'll be live talking through this slate, answering all your guys' questions, breaking down everything again. But yeah, guys, best of luck tonight. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.